saying
Hello,
all you have to
everybody.
do is get your polyps removed. And
Where are my polyps?
Oh, wait, there. Everybody else is muted. Strange. Welcome, everybody, to the last episode of Awakening. How is everybody doing? Now you're unmuted. Okay, I muted you guys.
Yeah. Cool. Kayla's trying to convince me into getting some weird surgery I never heard of.
No, listen.
Likewise.
Hayden told me that her significant other got their polyps removed because he was allergic to cats.
I don't
And
think
you're allergic to animals, so if we ever move in together and I want pets, all you have to do is get your polyps removed.
Polyps is like a growth you get in your throat if you potentially have like throat cancer.
Maybe that's where the
but
polyps are.
apparently
Right next to the thyroid gland. Welcome to Dice and Fire.
They go back, apparently.
Can we just say I was like, okay, we're starting in 10 seconds, and Kayla just started this conversation.
Wait. So they grow back. Why am I going to get my polyps forcibly removed if they grow back?
You'll be good for a couple of years, and then you have to go back and get the surgery again.
I'm on xylosides for this. It sounds
I ain't
stupid.
getting nothing taken off. I'm keeping my tonsils. I'm keeping my adenoids, my appendix.
Listen,
it all stays in.
If I can keep my tonsils, you can keep your tonsils too. But you'll need your polyps removed. You don't even have to get the surgery. I'll do it myself.
Oh.
Open up your nose.
Possibly not a good thing to do. Also, chat, I have one McNugget left after this one.
He ate 40.
Yeah, it was an economic deal, you know.
Someone said they're proud of me for making random Listen, this isn't a random conversation. It's a real conversation that I wanted to have.
So what you're saying is we just don't get the hairless cat because you don't think that's a priority.
I'll take it.
You're gonna be allergic to the hairless cat.
I probably am.
No, you will be because.
What an amazing conversation to start.
Anyway.
So Chad, how's everybody doing tonight? Are you guys ready to have all the questions answered, at least the ones that we have answers to? Answered about Awakening. Get some of the background.
I need my McNuggets.
Where some of the ideas came from, where a lot of these guys got their character stuff from. And some of your
character sheet.
Your other.
I've been up since 3 a.m., so I'm ready.
Which joints was that?
Oh, I realized actually people wanted to see character sheets. Should we start off with that?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Sure.
I didn't set it up, but it won't take too hard. It won't be hard to do. Just to add it.
That means they get to see our drawings.
Oh yeah, true. We have nice little drawings on the page itself. So yeah, everyone, we're gonna be doing a little bit of a Q&A today in the Discord. We've been asking all week for you guys to deliver your questions, and we will do our very best to answer all of them.
Yep, every single one.
Yeah, some of them are stupid, but
yeah, we're gonna skip the stupid ones.
Yeah, like the first one. Are the pets safe, Mev? No, they're dead. We killed them.
Obviously.
A blood sacrifice.
Scotty ate them 3 episodes ago, but we just didn't address it because it was awkward. But now that you brought it up, thanks.
I had the episode called Turtle Soup, but then Mev changed it. So. The pets are fine, chat. The pets are fine.
Yes, perhaps they weren't mentioned recently because they weren't exactly like the focus of the story. Hold on, we're gonna try to add a thing here.
Ooh.
This is gonna work. This is gonna work great. I can already tell. Window capture.
What's happening.
I want to make it so people can see character sheets.
Ew!
Oh, okay. There we go. Now we can see it. There we go. So I can get rid of that for a second.
Scotty Miller.
And then, yeah, we can take a look at that in a second, I suppose.
I love how the first line of the description is not very talkative, and I'm just thinking, who is this? Is this Doug's? Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, do we want to look at Scotty's first since I have it here? I guess.
I don't care. Go for it.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess I'll kind of blow this up over our faces so they can actually read things. But yeah, for personality, not very talkative, only talks when needed, a bit paranoid and unstable, sarcastic, and a bit rude. I'd say that's kind of Scotty in a nutshell. I'd say you played that pretty well. He was kind of a jerk sometimes.
Yeah. When he needed to be.
Yeah. Obviously, trigger event, voices in his head. Scotty Miller, late 20s, tall man, about 6'6", 180 pounds, skinny yet trim, shaved head, military cut, bags under his soulless brown eyes. That is very specific. And button-up shirt, dress pants, but sloppy. And his obsession was he just wanted to live a normal life. Just
sad.
Yeah, sad. His taboos were alcohol. He hated alcohol. His rage stimulus involved his father and his past and his fierce...
This is what the character sheets look like, by the way, everyone.
Yeah, by the way, this is everyone's character sheets.
Yep.
I just want to see everyone's abilities. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Fear stimulus being alone, and we never picked a noble stimulus for Scotty. But
He's
yeah.
just not a noble guy.
He's just not a noble dude.
But
he
yeah,
tried to be noble once, and it didn't even matter.
Nope.
as we kind of explained in the beginning, each character has all of these skills here, but each skill has a governing statistic, 4 of them. There's a body stat, a speed stat, a mind stat, and a soul stat. And then all the skills kind of go underneath them. So as we've been going at the end of each game, these guys have been getting points and have been able to like add to different skills or different stats. And yeah, these are all Scotty's step things. Obviously, we have Shadow Step, Blood Manipulation, Joint Lock. Those are kind of the 3 magical abilities you chose.
I think my favorite skill out of all the skills that I had was having 50 stealth, even though I'm 6'6".
Yeah.
I think that was an amazing choice.
I think you also went with he has 50 discipline because Scotty spent some time in jail. And they live
he's been disciplined, all right.
Yeah, they live a pretty regimented like life. And yeah, these are his but what are they called?
Look at this man's hardened in violence.
Yeah, he's hardened in violence. He's seen some stuff. But yeah, that's kind of Scotty's deal. I guess we'll take a look at another one. Should we look at Doug Diggums? Should we look at Jacob?
I'm embarrassed.
We'll go Doug. Okay, I think I got
Doug.
pump
I just want to see all the
Doug
random
Diggums.
crap he had in that bag. There better be a list of items.
Oh,
in
there's
that bag.
not actually. It's literally just me making it up as I go.
That would have been so funny.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my word. What is this mess?
What do you mean? I'm figuring it out. It's like my personality. He's gonna be charismatic, kind of controlling, easily annoyed, a bit of a con artist, and I'll figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
I didn't really get the controlling from
No, that never really came up too much. Like, definitely whenever it came to someone like trying to take charge, he stepped up, but then Jules kind of just shot him down. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And then his trigger event.
Doug was always the first person to make a plan, whether that plan was enacted or not.
True.
Little Diggums was playing Nintendo 64 as a kid. Mario Kart. Little Duggums.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Mario Kart alone crushing the bots. A storm came. Oh wow, this is long.
Yeah, no, you wanted a trigger event. I wrote you a trigger event.
A storm came. The power went out. But the TV flickered back on with static. A face appeared and stared deep into Doug's soul as it began to emerge from the TV. Hands reached out and reached for Doug, pulling him towards him by the controller cable. A foot came out, crushed the Nintendo 64. Doug began screaming and fighting back. Before anything could happen, the power came back and the shape returned into the TV. Doug turned the TV back on, but nothing emerged. His parents came in and assumed he had thrown a fit over the video game and broke his console, not believing any of the stories. He then had to work hard to earn money to buy a new Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
And his obsession from that point forward became financial gain. And of course, he knows ghosts are kind of a thing, so it all goes hand in hand.
And then kind of his physical descriptions: big nose, handlebar mustache, semi-mullet, often covered by a white cowboy hat. Something that was never really brought up
He
is
has
that
a mullet.
the inside of his
We
cowboy hat.
explained that early on. It was in all the fan art.
That's fair enough.
The inside of his cowboy hat was lined with tinfoil, actually.
Yep.
And but that was, I don't think we forgot to ever reveal that.
Yeah, well, nothing important.
Yeah.
Came of it, so.
I like how the last note is just has asthma.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that sounds right, just in case it comes up. Just so I can pull out an inhaler prop, nail it.
And then all the stuff, like, about
Here's some
Doug,
connections Mev can mess with if he ever has
yeah,
things, so.
Doug's family and stuff. He gave me all this stuff, the whole family, ketchup and mayo, his pets, Franklin, the turtle. We got Cheryl here, ex-wife, owner of Spectre Inspector, rival Ghostbuster. You know, everything is right here. So that's kind of where all that came from.
In thorough detail.
So yeah, your obsession, financial gain, your taboo, asking for help when you can handle it.
I got this. I seen this video.
And then rage, stimulus. We never really tapped that.
Yeah, no, my stimuluses were really weak. Except my noble stimulus. That one was solid.
I was arguably, I mean, people have asked, I think some of the questions were like, oh, is there anything you feel like you could have done better? I think I could have messed with your guys' stimuluses a little bit more in retrospect. But
obviously, Jules was perfect. It came up a lot. But...
Oh, yeah, the gunshot thing hers probably played out the most. I did mess with Jacob a little bit too. With the bugs.
No, my fear
every once in a
stimulus
while.
literally changed 3 times just because it was like, let's find something that'll actually come up. Hey, this came up once in an episode. This is it now. And then it just...
Oh, yeah, somebody brought up, and this actually is something that never really came up, that I could have done something with.
Yeah.
Doug's...
I'm just giving Mev material there.
Someone mentioned
Doug
Doug had a deceased sister.
Mm-hmm.
I could
How it
have...
happened, we'll never know.
I could have done a lot with that, actually, to mess with Doug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at them stats.
Yeah.
Body stat of 45, and like the base average is 55, just for those curious.
As you guys see, Xylo took the time to rename all of his skills
I
for the
wanted
most
cool
part.
skill names.
Like,
So,
this is
my body ones didn't really come up much except struggle. Doug's really good at struggling. I wrote one that sounded like a cool thing, candy from a baby, but it never really came up too often.
Yeah.
Of course, I had the knife early on. Mario Kart Pro just is one of the many reasons Doug's a good driver.
Yeah.
Of course.
He
It's
renamed.
all quiet like
That was
stuff.
initially the driving stat, which he renamed. Because a lot of the stats are defaultly given to everybody. They're already there, and you kind of add on top of them. And one of them is driving, and one of them is stealth. So Xylo just renamed his to Mario Kart Pro, and all quiet like. Then, of course,
Just pumped soul stats the whole campaign.
naturally, I've seen that video. Everybody is well familiar with that stat. Bag of tricks. What's this one? I believe you. What?
Yeah, that's I believe you do believe, and that was the one where I like mind tricked people into doing certain things that I got. Like that was my last ability that I got.
Right,
And I used like twice.
Then, of course, here's my card, finger guns, as everybody knows. And these are all his,
Yo, that actually fit with the character so well.
Yeah.
Unnatural, so hardened. Doug's seen it all before. But when it comes to violence, Doug never hurt anyone with his finger guns.
Yeah, that's true.
He never killed anyone. He never did anything violent to someone. So
fits perfectly. Yeah, it looks like I didn't even realize that you had failed more violence checks than got hardened ones.
Well, he hangs out with Scotty a lot, so there's a lot.
Yeah, so there's that. All right, so there's that one, and then I guess we'll go to Jacob next.
No, mine has like nothing on compared to Doug. Oh, of course, that was the next one shown.
I've played like 30 D&D. I guess that's not true, but
yeah, well, I like
played a lot more.
Went through yours
this is
with some of you
classic
guys.
QuteJakey. A lot of things are in my head, you know, a lot of information.
Yeah.
They're just all.
And like you
This
see all the
one's
stuff that was on my sheet that I never used.
This
never
was Jakey's
meant
first
anything.
D&D campaign too, so
True. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do. I was in a call. I mean, Sala helped me a bit, and then Mav helped me, and then just
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how there was all this thought put into the archetypes which are in the book, and then we just ignored them. It was great.
yeah, I was like looking at those documents. I was like, okay, the book,
I don't
or
know if
okay,
I ever chose an archetype. I don't think I did.
No, it
some-
didn't. Like, from what I could understand, like, you could pick one, or you could, like, create one. It was very kind of vague in, like, character
Yeah.
creation. It leaves a lot to the player to, like,
Mhm.
I don't
come up
remember
with
what
stuff.
Pilgrim means.
Yeah, me
at
neither.
all.
I'd have to, like,
Yeah. I know the
resort back to the book.
Plutomancer, which is the one I was, like, pretty much
Yeah, I was-
money magic. So,
Mhm.
I remember Phoenomancer actually.
yeah, there's
Um,
actually an ability in the book that the same thing I was doing with the
Uh-huh.
business cards, you can do it with money. So,
But as you know, personality, confident and a little self-centered, which I think
Yeah.
described
oh yeah.
Jacob pretty well. Young, early to mid-20s, Asian, well-dressed, expensive, blue. I think he meant
Said
hair.
blue.
He's blue, like the Blue Man Group.
Yep.
He's obsessed with people's validation, and his
Oh, yeah.
taboo is disagreeing with the group.
He kind of just went with everything, even when it was Doug's plans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Rage stimulus is stubbornness.
I don't think that really got
Yeah, we didn't get.
Like,
We got a
anything.
little bit of your fear stimulus, especially early on.
a lot
Yeah.
actually.
He's probably in second place when it comes to fear stimulus.
It wasn't a lot,
That's
Jakey.
for my
It's just
liking.
more than you were ready for. Yeah, exactly.
Remember when you
I feel
put
like-
me on a chair and have bugs crawl on me or whatever?
Did-
I don't know.
Did any of us really do anything with the rage stimulus? Because
I don't think so.
I don't think yeah. That's
I
probably
did.
that's
Remember when I assaulted y'all?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
right.
Good point. Good point. Good point.
Uh-huh.
and yeah, his skills, as you see, most of the ones that he added were like photo
Cinematic
jump,
cardio.
freeze frame, reaching for the stars. Read the room is one we kind of like discussed. It's sort of like a perception skill sort of thing. And as he became quote unquote awakened, you know, some of these other skills took on some more magical properties, I suppose.
Yeah. I love how you had like relatively balanced stats, just like 5 or 10 in each direction, and then mine, I'm like, I'm gonna dump the body stat, fully pump the
Yeah.
soul stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have points left, I think. I still have like even before
Yeah, the experience points, we were a little slow on
10,
spending them all the
yeah.
time.
Mhm.
I needed anyway. Because I nailed the rolling last episode.
And yeah, as you see,
Got it.
his checks, he's
Jeez.
hardened to violence. I guess you
Yeah,
saw
I-
a lot of stuff,
He's
I
and,
had
taking a lot of
Yeah.
pictures, you know?
Yeah.
and he was
felt-
able to kind of keep himself
fine.
emotionally removed from it, I suppose. And obviously,
Indeed.
some unnatural.
There's not a single failed check across the board.
No, he did well on all those rolls, if I remember correctly. And then I guess the final one. What's her name again? Right,
Cheryl's.
Cheryl's.
Cheryl.
Charles.
Okay, here we go. Cool. So as we could see to start, Jules has no personality.
Yeah, we know. We know.
And
Yep.
yeah. Her trigger event was shot
Look,
by
who
her.
fills out their entire character sheet anyway?
Yeah,
on anything?
nobody.
Come on.
hey, I filled mine out more than Jakey did.
Don't call our boy out like this.
At least
all
I have
about-
personality, okay?
And yeah, was shot by her mother's ex-boyfriend after watching her mother die in front of her. She experienced the afterlife, but then was resurrected in the hospital.
Resuscitated.
Resurrected. They did a ritual spell.
She's a mummy?
Early 30s,
Oh yeah,
female.
that's something. Her nickname was Julie. No one ever
Man,
called her
I
that.
wish I would have called her Julie.
No one ever
Oh.
called her that.
I probably should have
Missed
looked
opportunity.
at your character sheet a little more and made some of the police call you that.
Oh, I would have taken to that in a second.
Mm,
But like talking as Reuben, calling you Jules. Always like
Yeah,
it's,
Yeah.
Jules works out, you know.
It works.
sounds
just
better
all
than
calling you
Julie.
Julie.
Yeah, nah, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
One of my favorite parts about the campaign is anytime Mev did an accent for a character, it bled into the other ones just very slightly until it
Yeah.
equalized.
A lot of them always resort back to my somewhat bad British accent. Like the guitar guy, he was supposed to be more like this. But I would always kind of go back, yeah. It's
We all have our fallback accents when it all falls through. At least I do. So
And her obsession was bringing the man who killed her mother to justice.
Dive
Now,
into that a little
Jeez. All
yeah,
y'all with y'all drinking taboos and it just never came up.
yeah, that was
bit.
something.
Hers made sense because she was around
Yeah.
substance abuse all like her young life. But yeah, it never came up really.
It made sense with Scotty too, because
Yeah, I think the only time it ever came up was when you weren't at your apartment, because I think there was like beer in your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait,
Or
there was
something
that
like
one
that.
time at that rich dude's house where
Yeah, he offered alcohol, and I was like, no
Yeah.
thanks.
Doug made that drink with a expensive scotch and then with Coke.
Mhm. And looking at Jules' skills, of course, the infamous distracting physique, which I tried to make
I
sure
wish
you were
I
able
would
to.
have used that more, but
I like to think that was a passive ability constantly being used on Doug.
Yep, that's a good way to look at it.
Something I have on there is all the things that I wanted to get, but I hadn't done. Silhouette,
Oh, I
I
see.
really wanted. It was kind of similar to the thing that Scotty ended up doing. But if you look up like detective, you'll always see like that classic detective silhouette with like the hat and stuff. So I
Yeah,
wanted
you
her
had-
to be able to do that kind of like around walls and kind of like be a shadow almost similarly to Scotty.
Yeah, you had great thematic ones to the whole detective thing.
Yeah, magnifying glass. It wasn't. I think what I wanted to do with that was it was going to kind of tie into. It was supposed to be what truth serum was. It was almost supposed to work like a crystal ball, so I could look into the magnifying glass and see what happened in the past.
Mhm.
And what's the other one? Talking to the dead.
Talking to the dead. Yeah, I think that
tied
was.
in with talking to her mom after she
Yeah.
had passed away. But then we decided that she had actually just died, I guess, and was talking to her like on the other side before she was resuscitated.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
then I just ended up with taking notes in truth serum, which I do like taking notes because it tied into.
Yeah, that
Jules
was a good one for
but
sure.
The other ones I liked a lot, and I'm sad none of them worked.
Mhm.
And the connecting
Yeah.
the dots one probably led to me giving you more information in certain situations, for sure.
That was always a nice like semi-meta one. It's like we don't know what to do, Mev. Connecting the dots. Oh well, actually, here's
Actually-
the information you need.
It occurs to you. This was usually my go-to phrase for that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that kind of covers every. Oh, you had some failed violence checks.
Look at
I had
that.
yeah.
No wonder she got along so well with Doug.
Mhm.
And someone mentioned her hair being black too. If you want like a visual representation of what I picture Jules as, look up what's her
Jessica
name?
Jones.
Jessica Jones. Basically, Jessica Jones is what I picture Jules looking like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, some people wanted to see them, so now you kind of see what the character sheets look like and what everyone was like
Yeah.
working with and their skills and stuff. Jules had a high mind skill.
oh, I had a
She's-
gun. My gun
Yeah.
was labeled too. I just realized. Go
Mhm.
down.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Jeez, I just real. Hold on. Can we scroll back up to Jules' soul stat real quick? Oh gosh.
No soul.
She's heartless.
Yeah, no personality, no soul.
I was like, how are her stats so high? Oh.
No, it's just
She
actually
was
spin this.
very-
She's cold and calculating.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
her mind was what, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she had the mind stat. Doug had the soul stat.
Yep.
I mean,
Good
she's a
stuff.
detective, so
Oh yeah, for sure. And Doug was a con artist, sort of.
Yeah.
So
So
kind of need that soul.
that is everybody's character sheets. So
Yeah.
you guys have been asking lots of questions. There's a lot of them. I'm gonna try to get to as many as I can. And we'll probably have like you guys pick some questions too if anyone's kind of stand out to you that name 9mm caliber 44. Yeah, it was weird when I was looking in the rule book with that gun. According to I think the rule book, maybe just because of the way stats worked with weapons and stuff, 9mm guns shot 44 caliber bullets for some reason. Maybe I just looked at the book wrong. Not that it ever really factored in the kind of bullets
Yeah.
or damage or any of that kind of stuff.
she only shot it what 2 or 3 times. So
Yeah, about as many times as Doug with his hand. So.
yeah. I mean, it was her fear stimulus, so she tried to avoid it as much as possible.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a good place to start, and it's one of the earlier questions that was asked. What were your favorite moments throughout the series? So if everybody maybe wants to give a favorite moment, it could be either your favorite moment that you just kind of enjoyed from a story perspective, or something that happened with your character specifically. Perhaps it's up to you. Does anybody have one off the top of their head?
I think I
got
do.
2.
I loved the moment when Jules went to Doug's place for the first time, and she just bursted in, and he was just asleep, and they had never like met in person before.
Oh yeah, that was actually kind of a great moment.
Am I still dreaming? I got 2. One, you know, in Doug fashion, I gotta have a funny one in there. Of course, the Michael Jackson was pretty great.
Oh yeah, the whole.
Yeah. There's my card. I'm Michael Jackson, owner of this water park. I'm a smooth criminal. And then another one, like one of the more serious moments that Doug had, was that moment when everyone was getting mad at each other in Jules' apartment, or at least one of the times. Everyone always gets mad at each other when they're in Jules' apartment. Makes sense.
Of course.
It's Jules' apartment.
Yeah,
what do
but
you
just
expect?
when Scotty's brother just died, and everyone was like saying, I gotta get back to my job. I gotta get back to this. I'm like, people are dying, and it just like twists, and it's like, Doug. It's like the more moral people here, Doug and Scotty at that.
That is definitely a great moment, and a good like character moment for Doug too, because Doug is legitimately like he's a con artist as his job for the most part. And it's like it's a moment where he's the most noble guy in the room.
Alongside Scotty as well, and Scotty's the literal criminal.
Yeah. So it's kind of there's some good irony there.
That whole moment where they're all just prioritizing, and these two are like, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, they're on the same page. I like that moment.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. And what about Mitch or Jake?
I got 2 right off the back that I can immediately think of. One funny and then one serious. When we were trying to break into the water park, and I kept failing the rolls trying to get over the wall.
Man, I am so glad I decided to bring us to that water park.
Yeah.
All the best moments.
When we just had to walk to the entrance because
the Scotty rolls were for real on that. It was so
I even tried to help you, and I just couldn't.
And you failed too. Like it just was not happening.
It was definitely one of those moments where it's just like the audience was going crazy about the water park. So Xylo, of course, is like pushing for it, and in my mind, I'm like, seriously, we're going to a water park? Okay, I guess we're going to a water park. There's like
turned up being this hysterical thing.
Yeah.
What else could it have been?
Yeah. And then the other part, which was more towards the end, when Scotty went on like the murderous rampage.
Oh yeah.
And like I was actually rolling well. Like
after his brother went down.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that and me and Jacob were just sitting there like, oh gosh. Look, I just set up a dozen traps that could potentially do this, but I didn't expect this to go down like this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay.
What about you, Jakey?
I don't know. I hate the first moment that comes into my mind is from the one off.
Mozzarella sticks.
I mean, that is good. I just keep thinking about Roman, but like I guess one of my most that's the first thing that comes. Like I shouldn't be. It's not Jacob, you know.
My favorite character was for a one shot,
but it was still a fun. It was still like a fun episode and a fun departure.
Fun. That was fun, yeah.
I did have like a headcanon going that Jacob was needed to die, and then Roman would have came in to replace him and figured things out.
Yeah, right. I guess I think for Jacob, I loved the first moment when I was the first one to be awakened with the power of flying, because I've never thought of flying being a thing, and it's just like so ridiculous that it worked.
Yeah.
I rode, and then I was like, "What? I can fly, you know?" I just like flap my wings, you know. So
and it was kind of like a on a whim sort of thing, right? Where you're just like, I don't know, flying,
yeah,
I guess.
Like,
and then you rolled really well. So it's
like,
like,
okay, I guess I can fly now.
And then the next entire session was us all trying abilities and failing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can fly. You guys suck.
I'd say, oh, it's hard to pick one moment. There's so many different ones. I would say collectively, my favorite moment is the end of every single episode when I cliffhanger it and drive the audience absolutely insane, and then need to figure out a way to hopefully pay off that cliffhanger next week so it's not lame. That's my cheap answer because I can't think of one. But I love like when it's like getting towards that moment, I'm just like looking for the perfect moment to cliffhanger it. So I'm like, okay, yep, nope, that's where it ends right there. Cool. So more questions. There's a lot. There's so many.
What happened to Cheryl?
She's kicking.
She's doing Cheryl things.
She's probably real
Yeah.
upset that Doug's happy now.
She probably
He
does.
probably has no idea.
Probably not.
Yeah, like even when if people keep asking, what does Cheryl think? What happened
There
to
were a lot of
Cheryl?
questions about Cheryl. Number one, was she possessed by a demon actually? I guess that would be Xylo's answer.
Doug
think
sure believed she was.
I think it
Or
was more
she's
of a
just a crazy
situation where she was just
ghost
a crazy,
lady.
like Karen wife, if you ask me.
It could
I
very
don't know.
easily be either way, and we don't know.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of question as to whether or not Jules and Cheryl had met. And in case you didn't know, chat, I know I'm a great actress and everything, but I played Cheryl, and purposely we had Jules go to work so I could play Cheryl.
Yeah, because even just like
God.
logistically, that would be hard. I mean, as great
Yeah.
as great of a role player as Kayla is, it would still probably be confusing for the viewer.
You're saying I have a type?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't know.
So, like, let me just say, like, we'll just get all the Cheryl stuff out of the way right now. Cheryl probably has no idea Doug has a new girlfriend, nor would
I
she
think-
care.
I think Jules was talked about, but it wasn't.
I like to think she cares.
It wasn't like talked about like she was like a love interest by any means. It was more so just like another friend. that
Doug
was a
wouldn't
woman.
dare. Doug
Yeah.
wouldn't dare.
And if you guys remember the episode where we met Cheryl, Doug was trying to avoid having to go see her at any cost whatsoever. He sent his friends in to go talk to her because he wanted to avoid his ex-wife.
You know what? That episode was actually my entire favorite moment. The pepper spray. We have to count that for something. That was
Yeah, that was kind
priceless.
of great. I think my favorite thing about the pepper spray is thinking back on that. If I remember the way it timed out, it was like a thing where it's like the audience knew it was probably coming, and then it
was one of those
seemed
things
like
that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But then it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
We
It
were
felt
just
like that it
waiting
wasn't
for
gonna
it.
happen.
Mhm.
When there's Doug and pepper spray in the scene, you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's me as a DM being like, I gotta make that. I'm like, Xylo will probably be upset if his character doesn't get pepper sprayed by the end of this episode.
And I
Spend the
totally
next
just-
5 minutes after we come back from the break just wiping my eyes.
I totally just casually made it canon too that Cheryl had pepper spray because we hadn't talked about that prior. But I felt like she needed some type of weapon, you know?
Hey,
Yeah.
opportunities present themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of all the Cheryl stuff. She probably doesn't know Doug has a new girlfriend because he probably hasn't told her because they don't talk regularly, I doubt.
Yeah. Even if I didn't play both of them, I don't feel like there would be any reason for them
Probably
to
not.
like unless
Like
there
I know
was
Doug
a-
would specifically try to keep them apart.
Yeah.
For
if there
sure.
were any reason, I feel like it'd be through Jules' work. If
Mhm.
like she had to go investigate a case for her or something, but even then, would they even realize?
And even though, like, I guess, you know, we kind of decided that this will transition into something else, which will cover a lot of other questions. There's a lot of repeat questions in the Discord, so this will cover a lot of them as well. Jules and Doug winding up together.
Okay, this I need to reference too because people were hella confused. I
She
played
really
Jules-
likes me.
No, listen. I played
Grumps.
Jules a lot. How I personally, I guess, convey my love or likeness of other people, and I bully the heck out of Xylo. and that's my way of flirting. So I guess I didn't play her the proper way to actually build up like a connection, but I always thought like the little like nitpicking and that sort of thing was kind of, I don't know.
And
Look, bullying when we're making a Minecraft video is one thing. When we're getting attacked and possibly killed by ghosts, it's different. I get different vibes, you know?
And even thinking about the type of person Jules is, I bet you Doug annoyed the hell out of her at the beginning.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But Doug's also that kind of guy. He kind of grows on you after a while. Doug's
He's got a 75 soul stat. You can't resist Doug.
Yeah.
The ending too was a couple of months after the whole like incident went, like, because we did Scotty's funeral and then it was a few months later. So y'all don't know what happened in those few months.
I like to think Jules just like ditched them for several weeks and tried to get back to work, but then just was missing. Just missing Doug, missing the others. There was probably
she never had family before. That was another thing that came up a couple of times. Jules didn't have anybody aside from Reuben, who was her boss. I mean, he had been there. She didn't have family. All of her family had died. She didn't really have friends because all she did was work. So she finally found like people in the group with Scotty and Jacob and Doug. So she definitely would have gone back.
Dodged our phone calls for a few weeks, but then just arrived at like Doug's doorstep, like, hey.
And she probably still was cold and probably gets like annoyed at him all the time. But
you wanna get mozzarella sticks?
I can totally picture that exact scene. So
Doug's eyes light up. Perhaps.
Sorry, Chad. I'm definitely in Discord deleting these questions as we answer them. This whole chat's getting deleted after this stream. Yeah, that's the only reason. Not all. Actually, I should probably confirm. Not all of the Awakening chats are getting just the Q&A one. We're gonna leave the other ones there with all the fan art and the spoilers, and you guys can still talk about the campaign and all that stuff. That's gonna stay in the Discord. I guess more question. Did Jacob's parents ever accept his career choice in the end? I know what the answer with that I think it would be, but I want to hear what you would think it would be.
I feel like either way, it's still a happy result.
It's getting better, but I don't think they are fully still. Like even when we,
I feel like it's more important that Jacob accepted himself at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, because I will say, just from my own personal experience, old people are stubborn. Trust me.
From my experience too.
Old people are really... Yeah, take me for example. They're really stubborn. Yeah, so I mean, especially when it comes to things like that, sometimes like parents will just kind of never understand, unfortunately. Which in the end, it doesn't really matter. I think for Jacob.
Yeah. As long as he's like, embracing himself and just have his, the gallery with the photos that he likes to take and things that makes himself proud, So
there better be a Scotty selfie in that collection somewhere.
Jacob is something we did try to convey pretty clearly. Like Jacob is a successful photographer. He's not just like a struggling photographer. Like he's got some money. He's doing all right
for himself.
Paying dinner here and there.
We were just kind of playing, I think, on the parent thing, especially when you do something like in the arts. A lot of times parents are like, that is a very unpractical job. And even if you're doing very successful at it, it's kind of hard for them to look at it as a real job. That's a pretty common thing, and I think we were kind of like playing on that sort of thing. But Jacob gets plenty of validation in many other aspects of his life, I think, even if he's not getting them from his parents.
Yeah, but I guess. But the character sort of like seeks their validation the most, so I guess he's always like, they don't like what he's doing, but he still puts them at a very, high spot in his life, high place.
That is kind of a thing too, because like even if you are successful, like everybody wants their parents to be like proud of them and accept what they do and stuff. that's kind of answered. What's the
I
extent?
had a question that I found that I thought would be interesting to answer.
Cool. Do it.
It's from Blues. Is there anything about your characters you wish you could have gone more in depth about?
Ooh, that's a good one for
I
everybody.
saw
If you
that,
feel
and I
like you
was
got
like,
an
that
answer
is
for
a
it.
very good question.
It's hard for Doug because he just kind of became the comedic relief character and kind of did it well. So
I'm pretty happy with Jules. I think the only thing I'd say is maybe getting more, talking more about the substance abuse thing, and getting those abilities that I never got, like the silhouette and magnifying glass.
Mm.
yeah, I guess I do wish my abilities came into play more, but when they did, it was always good. So can't complain.
Yeah. To an extent, I think there was a big like learning curve for me as well as like a DM, which is like trying to balance like giving you guys opportunities to try to use all those abilities and stuff. I feel like I probably could have done better sometimes.
But yeah, you definitely were pretty active about correcting that. It's like, oh, it's this number down. Oh no, it's this number down. You know what? Just beat this. You know what? If you guys want one, just let me know. You get one freebie. One freebie, guys.
Yeah, it was very, very homebrewed. And there was a lot we were kind of... It's probably pretty obvious to a lot of the audience, too, though. There was a lot we, and me specifically as the DM, was figuring out along the way, for sure. And a lot of that, especially like the abilities and stuff like that, because it's like from a story perspective, you want these guys to be able to like do the things that they're trying to do, but then you gotta sort of still stick by the roles. But then sometimes the roles are just kind of getting in the way of progressing the story. So if I felt that was happening, I would try to adjust it to make it easier for them. You know what I mean? That was kind of the adjusting I was trying to do along the way. Again, first campaign and a completely new rule set that I've never really used or experienced before, so a lot of figuring out along the way, unfortunately. But, I mean, I think in the end, the story kind of wound up good, which is, to me, the most important thing. Is there anybody else, like, on that question? Like, is there anything you felt like you would have dove in deeper with your characters?
I think personally, just for Scotty, either maybe discussing more about what had happened in prison. I think because you only heard like little excerpts of it every now and then. Like if he learned a skill or like did something a certain way, he would just like briefly mention, "Oh yeah, that was something I did in prison," or "Oh, it was kind of like prison." But he never really fully explained how his experience was in prison.
How many years was he in prison? Did you ever decide that?
He went in when he was 18. He was in I think it was 10 years. I think.
Yeah, I think we said 10
I think it
years.
was 10 years because he was 18. I think I made him 28 or 29. Because I always say I don't like giving off numbers just in case, but I usually like do like late or early for ages. But I put late 20s, so I'm assuming he was like 28, 29 when he got out. And he was only out for like what, a month or two before this series technically started.
I will say
so he
also,
wasn't even out for that long.
We changed Scotty a little bit in the beginning too, because like I basically reached out to these guys, kind of told them the premise of it, and to try to come up with like their characters. And I was kind of secretly hoping somebody would come up with a character that had a dark backstory, because like thought that would work really well in something like this.
Well,
Mitch certainly delivered that. But initially, Mitch actually wanted to make Scotty like a serial killer.
Yeah, I did. I originally wanted that.
And
yeah.
I was like, I like him being a killer because I want to have a character with a dark backstory, but a serial killer might be a little bit
harder
much.
to redeem.
Yeah, to redeem. Yeah.
I wanted all the characters to have at least be like have some redeeming qualities, so that you as the viewer could like the character. I feel like as a serial killer, you're like evil. You're like unredeemably like. To make people feel like for Scotty's death, which we'll probably talk extensively about at some point in this conversation as well, for that to have any sort of impact, the audience has to like Scotty.
Well, plus, in order for there to be like a decent villain too, like Mara had to be the evil bad guy. And I feel
Yeah.
like if we had an evil person amongst us, that might have just been, it would have made him a little less, depending on whose
Like
side. our
it would
evil
also depend
person
on like
was
how
on.
serious that person was about like their evilness in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
now that we've been through the campaign, I feel like that decision also had a really big impact on the type of character Scotty was, because a lot of his character just became like Scotty was very much a victim. Like he wasn't a bad guy. He's just a guy that bad stuff happened to.
He just had an unfortunate event after unfortunate event.
Scotty's
Series
actually
of
like
unfortunate events.
Like, sure, he died in the end, which was sad, but he was already a really sad character. Like, he was hearing voices. His obsession, and like you saw in his character sheet, like, he just wanted to live a normal life. That was all he wanted, which he, like, couldn't. So, and I think that became a big part of, like, what Scotty was. Like, he just wanted to live a normal life. Just leave me alone. I don't even want, like, crazy good things. I don't even want a genie to give me, like, tons of money or whatever. Just, can I just, like, have some peace and quiet in my head? But, yeah. I think it kind of worked out well for Scotty's, thing, too. And again, and interestingly enough, Scotty became one of the audience's favorite characters. You guys freaking loved Scotty. And you hated it when I tortured him.
Scotty deserved better.
And that actually brings up another question that I saw, which was, Mev, why did you torture Scotty so much?
Because I let him.
He attempted to torture all of us, in fairness.
I did
I
attempt to
told Mev to torture him.
but I did it extra to Scotty because Scotty was tortured.
And he failed the rolls anyway, so it always succeeded in the torture.
That didn't help my life. Either.
Yeah, he didn't need my help a lot of times. He did a lot of torturing himself. But like that was a big part of what Scotty was. Like he was a tortured dude. He had a rough life, so we needed to make it rough on Scotty.
Yeah, I guess that all comes down to him being the victim. If you want to segue into that whole idea.
Oh yeah, that's an idea. Somebody asked that question, but then someone sort of like the type of archetypes or characters for the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. I'll also branch off on other things, which is like some of the inspirations I took. I got that idea from a movie called Cabin in the Woods, which is a really great horror movie. It's also really funny. If you like horror, I definitely recommend it. But actually, I won't, just to not spoil it, we'll just say I kind of got that idea. The idea of, like, needing different types of characters, like a character archetype, like a hero, or a victim, or, like, I forget what I came up for each of you.
I was the liar.
Yeah, the liar. Needing all of them for a sacrifice. I also stole something else from that movie, which was for the one shot, which was the idea that there was actually different items around the house, and I think one of you grabbed a necklace or something like that at some point.
Yeah,
and
that was me.
Whatever item you guys touched first would trigger which ghost was going to come after you.
Oh, cool.
And
makes sense.
And also along with that, around that time that we did that one shot, I had played 2 games, Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2. And I remember I took a lot of inspiration from those games when I was kind of setting up that one shot, like the way
Not to mention Phasmophobia as well.
That was another thing. Yeah, we had all Phasmophobia just came out. We had all just played that as well. So I take from a lot of things. I take a lot of inspiration from things. Well, okay, I transitioned to that question, but I feel like I transitioned out of the first question faster than I meant to. Oh yeah, the archetype thing. Yeah, you had brought that up. So yeah, that's kind of where I got the idea. from, and I thought it was kind of a cool thing. I will say, full disclosure, when this campaign started, I didn't know what the ritual needed to be yet.
Yeah, Mev was struggling. It's like, all right, why does it need to be these people? What's going on? What is it? What's the idea here? And then he eventually,
because a lot of stuff was sort of improvised. Some decisions, some things just happened because they worked out perfectly that way, and I just kind of rolled with it.
The best mystery is the mystery you keep from yourself.
There was an idea that I came up with. I can't remember what it was. I'm blanking.
But I remember that specific thing. It was like we were a couple episodes in, and I kind of thought to myself, like, okay, I've already made it like a thing that these 4 people are special. And they're dreaming together for a reason. Now we have to commit, and I have to figure out the reason why it's these 4 people.
Why do that?
So there was a little bit of reverse engineering in the story sometimes in that regard. And yeah, there's a certain amount that, I mean, was there a specific question for this? Should we kind of address, like, in general?
I wanted to talk about that loosely.
Should we kind of address also in general, like, how much this was planned and how much was, like, improv?
Yeah, there was quite a bit that at least some people knew about and some people didn't, because there were several, like, I guess, little chats we had to have prior to streaming.
So, like for example, the Scotty death thing.
Spoiler alert.
That was planned for a while.
Like 2 months, I think.
Yeah, me and Mitch talked about that like a while ago.
Yeah.
And
I was like in deep enough. It's like, oh, okay, I know Scotty's gonna die, but I didn't know how he was gonna die or why he was gonna die.
Yeah.
So, like, in hindsight, if I knew all those details, I might have played things a little differently. But hey, that's probably why
I forgot how we brought it up too. I think you were like, we don't want like a super happy ending. Like, we want like a decent ending with like something sad happening.
Yeah.
And then we started discussing like a character that, and I was like, let's just go Scotty. Why not?
Once again, I'm going to do the reverse here as to not spoil the movie in case anybody ever sees it one day, because I hate spoiling things. There's a movie I saw once that I really, really, really loved. And the movie essentially was this guy. He's the hero of the story. He needs to escort this girl out of a dangerous, dangerous city. And the whole movie is him trying to get her out of this city. And in the end, he finally gets her out of the city into safety where he needs to get her, but he gets shot and dies. So it's a very bittersweet ending where it's like, it's a happy ending. She's safe, but he died in the process. So it was like sad and happy at the same time. So
you know what would have been cool? Like an alternate ending, to have it more like that instead of us just killing Mara and being like, oh, well, Scotty's dead. Because of that tethering, we should have discovered maybe at one point, one of the cult members had like hurt Scotty, and maybe it affected Mara the same way if Mara got attacked.
Yeah,
and then we would have to dramatically put down Scotty ourselves.
And then no, Scotty could have sacrificed himself or something to have that death be a little bit more meaningful, rather than just he's dead now.
In hindsight, I wish when I grabbed Jules, put the finger gun to her head. Man, I wish it was Scotty now. That would have been fun.
We did sort of plan, because I also wanted I wanted good character balance. These are all main characters to this story. It's not like somebody's more of a main character than everybody else. And I will actually commend all of these guys here for actually doing really well at this. Because everybody here has done Minecraft roleplays on YouTube before. You do your story, and you guys are all used to being the main character of your story. So you're always the focus, like in your story, obviously.
I sure am.
And something like this, it's actually, everybody has their moments and stuff, and you guys were like really good at like letting each other have their moments and stuff. And we kind of felt like Jacob hasn't had like a good epic moment yet, so we kind of wanted Jacob to do that in the end. We had sort of discussed the possibility of that happening. I didn't actually expect it to happen or work so quickly. That was one of the cases where I just, like, we couldn't argue with the rolls. Like, the rolls happened, and it just kind of happened that way. It just sort of happened that way. Like, I couldn't argue with it, unfortunately.
Can't fight the rolls.
Can't fight the rolls. But yeah, I mean, I will say one of my kind of regrets too was that Scott, like we did discuss, we didn't want Scotty's death to just be like sad. We wanted it to have like some impact and maybe have some way of affecting the final fight so that his sacrifice wasn't for nothing, pretty much. And unfortunately, we didn't get to do that as well as we had hoped. I will say,
kind of was for nothing, but that just makes it more sad.
Which was
Well,
kind
to
of
be honest,
the point of
like when we were discussing the death, and then like as we got closer and closer to the ending, my thought process was, if he's dying, in a sense, this is kind of good for him because now he like if he lived, like my thought process is if he lived and made it through this whole thing, he'd have the three of you, sure, but he doesn't have a family.
His brother's dead.
His brother died. His dad's dead.
He
He
was
has no
removed
clue
from
where
his
his
brother
mom
before
is.
that anyway. It's still
He doesn't
different.
have a job. He doesn't know what to do with his life at that point.
He'd become a junior detective.
A junior.
I like to think of it.
He can, if he
as-
has the Ghostbuster shirt, he can join the Ghost
Then
Adjusters, you know?
He can help me. He can be my assistant.
Yeah,
right?
I
we'll give you
like
a
to think
job.
of it as he found his peace finally, and he's
That's
with
what I
his
think too,
brother on the
yeah.
other side. I think that was a good ending for Scotty, as sad as it was.
which I think at the same time was the whole him finding peace or wanting to find peace was the whole reason he even made the deal with Mara in the first place. Because people will notice like the sound effect that I had for the whispers that would happen in his head and stuff. I stopped doing those nearly as much as soon as Scotty made that deal, which we tried to keep kind of quiet as far as whether or not he went through with it and made the deal. We cut off the conversation. Most of chat kind of figured it out though. And a lot of, and we didn't address it for a while, but most of you guys still remembered when we got to the end there, like, wait, did he ever make the deal with Mara? Did Scotty ever make the deal?
Or he's just locked in an unapproachable dream dimension with Mara himself and in a world of constant torture and agony.
Yeah, they're just constantly playing checkers.
Do you think we should have done like a Shining type of thing where we had him in the picture with Mara at the end in the art gallery?
I was gonna,
Actually.
Alicia
That would be
DM'd me
cool.
about that. She was like, "Wait, are you in the picture with Mara now?" And I was like, "That's a good question. I have no idea."
That would have been some. Yeah, in retrospect, that would have been a good one. It's too late, chat.
Yeah.
See, that
Shoulda,
would
woulda,
be a bit more
coulda.
unfortunate. I like him finding his peace.
Yeah,
Being locked in a
same.
photo for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I
What do you
will
mean the
say,
rest of his life?
we can also say with that
The life
ending,
doesn't exist.
last week when that because basically Jacob or Jakey as Jacob trapped him in the photo like in the first half, and we took a break then.
The moment we cut to break was phenomenal. Okay, guys.
We were like, what do we do?
What do we do?
now?
What do we do? What's going on? And Mitch was like, so Scotty's dead, right? We're
Yeah,
like,
that was
what?
basically it. Scotty's dead now.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh.
that happens
Yeah.
like that? Okay.
Yeah, I
Huh.
have more challenges, honestly.
Yeah,
And
pretty
then, yeah, we just started piling up ideas. All right, what do we want for the ending here? Mozzarella
That's something we
sticks.
might have wanted to discuss prior to this campaign. I know Mev didn't know if this was going to be the last one,
I
but
didn't.
knowing that capturing Mara would have killed Scotty, I feel like would have been good information for us to know.
Yeah, we might have been able to help push that ending a little differently. You know?
Yeah.
But you know what? That just makes it, a very honest game.
Yeah, it's more authentic that way. That it was a surprise.
authentic, all right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm. Got a little side question here. What was
Mhm.
everyone's favorite side character? And-
Cheryl.
Yeah, like aside from Cheryl, it was the DJ boy.
Yeah, J-Dog.
But then he betrayed us, and my reputation for him went down.
Aside from Cheryl, ooh. It's a hard matchup from Reuben and
Yeah, we got Reuben in there too.
Reuben and who was Cheryl's assistant? He was
that's what I was about to say. I was about to say Cheryl's assistant was my favorite side
The
character.
very timid guy. I forget
a T in the name.
Timmy to Tom.
No.
I think I saw it recently in one of the questions. Hold on.
Randall was good too.
I like Randolph.
Randall was decent.
Randall.
He was funny.
Everyone keeps asking if Randall's okay. Like, maybe? I don't know. I mean, he didn't live in the library. He just wasn't there when we.
I like to think he was never okay.
I want to know, actually, my question for Mev, I guess, would be, while we're trying to figure out the dude's name, is the Awakening universe, like the dream world, still existing? And could the characters go back to it if they wanted to?
That was another question.
Or can we just, like, sleep normally now without going there? Or does every night when we go to rest, we, like, all meet up and hang out? That could be an alternative ending, is when we go to sleep at night, we can see Scotty and he's just chilling there.
I don't think you guys dream together anymore, because that's something that I think Mara was forcing. This also ties to another question I see other people have. Do these guys still have their powers? I think so. I don't think the being awakened and having powers necessarily had to do with Mara. Like, Mara didn't make that happen. But Mara was making you guys dream together.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I can still finger good. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So, I mean, I don't think that world necessarily exists anymore, because that was Mara's world. But you guys probably all still, like you've probably all acquired quite a skill for, like, lucid dreaming. Like, so when you're dreaming, you know you're dreaming. And
was that fog that came up at the end of the scene kind of like that world almost like collapsing?
Yeah, that is what that was.
Yeah, Mev explained it to us after, but in the game I didn't get that vibe at all, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that was actually my save because it was kind of comedic that you guys couldn't wake up for a while. But then it was like,
just slapping each other.
Yeah, that was the best thing, because I was like muted.
Scotty's dead on the ground, and
I was muted, hysterical laughing. I was like, y'all just killed the demon within like 5 seconds, but you can't wake up.
Yeah, that was
like, really.
So when I'm like, okay, this has gone on long enough, that's when I made like, I'm like, well, this world is probably gonna like deteriorate now that Mara's gone anyway, so might as well make that happen. Then they'll all wake up.
The boy's name was Trevor. That's right.
Yeah, Trevor. Thank you, Micro.
Oh, Trevor, that makes sense.
He was such a Trevor.
Trevor was funny.
I love that they kept their abilities though, just because their abilities work so well with them. So like Jules will now use those probably for her day-to-day work.
Here's my card.
Doug will use his, absolutely. Jacob will probably use his too. So.
And do you think it's like an X-Men sort of thing where like people keep their powers secret? You guys keep your powers secret because you don't want it to get out that you even have these powers.
Reuben and these guys are probably the only people that Jules is told.
Yeah.
I do remember one power that I kind of wanted to do, but it never would have been super relevant anyway. But like if I give someone one of my business cards, I can track that business card wherever they go. So I can always find them.
Yeah, so it's like a little tracker thing.
Yeah.
I wanted the heat vision thing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That way I can see people through walls.
Two.
Scotty wanted all the powers.
I never got all, or I never got more.
Wanted a lot of eye powers just because of the soulless brown eyes.
Here's a general one that I like. Were the players and the DM happy how things turned out? I'd say yes.
There's definitely like improvements that could have been made, I think. But
was it good? Yes. Could it have been better? Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Definitely didn't disappoint us, but
it was still by far my favorite campaign I've been a part of.
Likewise.
All two of them.
It's better than yours, Xylo.
You're in another one. Yeah.
Basically, all that matters is it's better than yours, Xylo.
Mine isn't done yet.
I've been in a lot of one-shots too. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nah,
I don't know, 5 or 6, maybe even 7.
I will say as the DM, and it was my first campaign, I'm happy to have made it to the end, and I'm glad we kind of kept as much of an audience as we did throughout of it. A lot of you guys like seemed really into it. You kind of got really attached to these characters in the story, which was like really cool. That was like the least we could hope for. Actually, the most we could hope for. I won't even say the least. That's the most we could hope for, is that people like enjoyed it and stayed compelled by the story and the characters, which is kind of the whole point, obviously. Like these guys said, I think anybody who does something creative, they're always their own worst critic. So I am probably way more critical of this than anybody. But I've kind of learned to like gauge that also and like be self-aware that I am going to be the pickiest one about the whole thing. It's just the nature of things. So I could say I'm more than happy with like the outcome. I also thinking about it, like this show was a little different than a lot of the shows that we've done before. I didn't know exactly, like these guys are all great role players. I didn't know exactly how they were going to take to it and if they were going to enjoy it and enjoy coming on this weird ride. But yeah, so I'm just kind of happy that the audience like continued to seem to enjoy it and that you guys, the players, enjoyed it. So I will say overall I'm happy with the way things turned out. And people keep asking, this is a common one, will there be an Awakening 2? No. Next question.
The audacity to just say no, I could never do that as a creator. I could give you like, you never know, it's possible, but Mev just dropped a no on
everybody
you. The
always,
story's finished, guys. It's like that.
Everybody always wants to leave
He's a bold man.
The possibility open. I would rather move on to something else new. I will say that there may be potential like one-shots in the future in this world. That's definitely a possibility, but like another full campaign, especially something like this, we've revealed all the mystery already. So I'd rather do something else that's brand new from scratch with new mystery.
Yeah. Happily ever after for those characters, you know.
If there's a one-shot where Roman Holiday is babysitting some kids, you know, so be it.
Yeah, Roman Holiday babysitting Doug and
I want another
Jules.
Cheryl.
Some new little Dickums around.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect thing. We have like a perfect setup to go back and do a one-shot every once in a while, and it'll be Cheryl and Doug and Roman, and it'll be like probably a little sillier. It'll be great. Yeah, the Ghost Adjusters one-shots will be that's definitely a possibility, and I'd say a probability. I think everyone would have fun with that.
Maybe around Halloween or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be fun.
Boom. So many questions.
One question I saw pop up a few times is, did we ever find Scotty's mother?
Yeah,
I like
Jules.
to think that I like to think that Jules would have done that for Scotty. And
I'm a master detective. She going to do it fine.
She would have shown up to her house maybe with like a basket, like not a fruit basket, but
Just
like
be like, hey, sorry to let you know, but both your kids are dead.
Maybe they had a cup of tea and she would have told her. And
besides your husband being murdered early on, now your kids are dead.
True, that's layers right there.
How she would have taken that obviously is up to Scotty, but Jules definitely would have found her.
Doug's in the background, but if they ever haunt you, you give me a call.
Here's a card.
Her noble ability too was helping people, so no, she would have been on that immediately.
Man, the fact that that's your noble ability and like one of Doug's last lines in the whole thing. What do you do for work? I help people. Yeah, that's the thing. I never fully decided what Doug's doing these days. Is he still up to his old things, just slightly improved? Maybe. Is he doing something better? Maybe. I don't know what Doug's doing, but
I
had
would
the
hope
funny
he'd be
idea
doing
that,
something
like-
a little bit better, especially if Jules is dating him. Otherwise, because she was not in on the whole con artistry.
I would say, like, because, you know, people don't change overnight. I'd like to think Doug's making an effort, but he's still very the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
help people and make money all at the same time.
Look,
Look, that old lady didn't need her money anyway.
Yeah, no, she probably did, actually. You scammed an old lady. Stop trying to talk your way around it.
Like she was gonna be around for that long anyway. What was she gonna do with the money?
Yikes.
What if that was Scotty's mom?
Oh, man.
Whoops.
Yikes.
That would have been a great...
Scotty, I scammed your mom.
Was she trying to contact her husband, or who was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she was trying to contact
Scotty's dad was
her dead husband.
She's so forgetful now after all she's been through. Come on. Your husband died years ago.
That would be hilarious.
Mhm.
Canon.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh.
Doesn't even remember Scotty was ever in jail.
Oh, I like Sam's question of what was the after game talk after the finale? I think we were all kind of like,
wow, that was the last
Well.
episode.
That was a lot of shock.
it was kind of like, that just happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We finished it. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do we do with our Tuesday nights?
Yeah.
Ooh, Doug could become a private investigator. He's gonna take up Lenny's void that he left. Boom. That's decent.
That is
He helped-
decent.
He helped prisoners.
He's got a lot of skills
rid
that'll
of
fit
their
into that
chat
pretty well.
base.
And help each other, and Jacob could be the photographer.
Ew.
Oh, that's our season 2. We all
Ew.
crime. And Jester is more like crime busters.
Crime busters.
Shut up, Scotty, you're dead.
Yeah, I know. The whole campaign would be you guys doing that, and then my screen would just be black.
I tell you, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there every
You
week.
can get Roman to chant you back, chant your way
Yes.
back here.
No, that's the thing. Just Mitch plays Roman now.
Oh God, you're gonna have to.
You
You're
gotta
gonna
do the
I was gonna say you're gonna have to teach me how to do that.
Just rap Nikki.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I
Nicki
know.
Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
Another fun question I saw.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys could have any one of the characters' powers in real life, what would it be?
Ooh.
Jules.
Is that for any character or
Jules'
just?
notebook is OP.
It's pretty OP.
Yeah, that is pretty OP.
Like, finger guns is cool and all, but I'm not going to use that in real life.
You could literally write that you wanted finger guns, depending on how, how, I guess, because it has to have limitations, and we talked about this a little bit, and I didn't even give that much, but you could write basically whatever you want and have it happen, as long as it worked, and with that pen, so...
Yeah, that was one of those ones where I kind of trusted. Like, we both knew it was very OP. Like,
Yeah,
everybody...
just don't write in that you get a gene.
Yeah.
Don't write that Mara, because she technically could have just written
Mara had a heart
doesn't
attack.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mara no longer exists. Like, yeah. I trusted you to not exploit how OP it was.
No, in Awakening 2, chat says Mitch has to play Doug and Jules' child. Boom.
So am I serious or am I goofy?
Both at the same time.
Jeez.
Well, I like this one, and this is one everybody can kind of answer. And then I'll answer last, I suppose. What gave you the idea for Awakening and the characters? So, what gave each of you guys your idea for your character?
Ooh, Jessica Jones, and then the detective lady from Money Heist.
Oh, yeah, you guys were watching Money Heist at the time, right?
I can't remember her name.
Inspector something.
Yeah, Inspector from Money Heist. That's where I got the pen thing, and Jules keeping her notebook.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she looks like Jessica Jones. Easy enough.
Man, for Doug, I'd just I didn't want to play like a tough character whatsoever. I wanted to play like a charismatic character. Then I threw together just some what kind of voice I want to do for this. Let's go with Southern. I don't have any of those going right now. What do I want? You know, I don't have a character like this. And then, so I just kind of did some stuff like that. Really, I don't think it has any direct inspiration.
And then what made you want him to be like a kind of con artist kind of character? You're just like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah. You were talking about like someone with some sort of connection to the supernatural would be good, and I'll be like, I got it.
Now, as we talked about this was Jakey's like first campaign. So you were actually struggling a little bit like with your character in the beginning, right? Like what he was gonna be.
Like, I don't know what to do. And obviously, I think when with someone that is a little bit similar. Or
Yeah,
like
Jake is like, I'm
online,
gonna play me, but photographer instead.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's easier. And I was like, you know, I guess I kind of can do well with character that is like,
Yeah.
you know, just sane and just like a little bit
True.
on the celebrity
that too.
side. Just, you know, that kind of live. I've done it once with like back in Origin Z. You know, I can do that. You know, and you know, instead of doing sports, you know, that's not me. So I was like, just go for something easier for this, you know, first time, and eventually work my way out, I guess.
That's the thing. Like almost every character you play is gonna have some connections to yourself. So
Yeah, eventually I still get that. I think the biggest thing for my character here, it's like the family stuff, the family struggle. You know, it's kind of like that, but like not exactly. But I kind of like put the inspiration from, you know, my life experience into the character a little bit, so it's kind of like makes sense in my head, and that's how I was able to do it, I guess.
I know that's a common thing people do. Like a lot of times character traits are things that are like about your own personality, but like amplified in the character a lot of times. We were just like, I'm just going to do an exaggerated version of this thing that is actually
Doug
me.
Dickham's lying and scheming and you know, tricking old ladies and just like me.
It's just like normal things that Zylo does.
And Mitch,
or maybe just the smooth talking aspect, but you know, I don't know.
Mitch, what was your inspiration to play a killer?
Well, Xylo Mev came forth with the whole, we need a dark character with a depressing story. And I was like, most of my characters that I play are dark and depressing. This should be easy. But I kind of got a little inspiration. I mean, I don't know much about it, but I got a bit from like Hannibal Lecter with the whole like kind of just being kind of like very monotoned and like kind of chill vibe.
Yeah. I could see that a little bit.
So that's where I kind of got his like personality from. But with the whole like backstory and stuff like that, it came down to like our connection with the supernatural. So I figured him having kind of like a split personality in a sense, where he could just go from this quiet guy to like this rampaging murderer out of nowhere. I felt that connected well with the supernatural, since it was like a demon kind of controlling him that he had no control over.
Yeah.
And that was constantly torturing him.
Cool. And I guess my answer, I have to give credit where credit is due. These guys are sick of hearing it, and I've mentioned it plenty of times. I had no interest in DMing any sort of campaign, and then I saw this campaign called Nocturne, which is from a channel called Table Story. It is a campaign run with the same rule set, with the Unknown Armies 2nd edition rule set. I started watching that show, and after a couple of episodes, I was like, I want to run a campaign, and I want to run campaign in this rule set. So I would be lying if I didn't say I took a lot of inspiration from Nocturne by Table Story, including just my style of how I DM. I take a lot from that, I think, as well. I always tend to like think of these D&D campaigns. There's like kind of two aspects to it. There's the game aspect, and then there's the story roleplay aspect. I always like the things that are a little more story roleplay heavy. So that's kind of, I think, what sort of struck me about it. I like started watching it, and I'm like, wow, they haven't gotten in combat once, and nobody's even rolled a die for like 45 minutes. They've just been role-playing out scenes like really, really well. I like this a lot. It becomes more of just like a live improv role-play show as opposed to like a game they're playing. So I always like that sort of aspect. So definitely took a lot of inspiration from that. And some of the inspirations that I said before. As I said, I steal from everything. I try not to steal anything directly. There was an old quote, I forget who said this. It was like some film director or something, but he's just like, if you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. If you steal from everybody, it's research. And I think we're all just sort of like a sum of our inspirations. Like, it's like we all do the things that we like. But yeah, that's kind of where I got my idea to want to do like awakening and stuff. And having like these powers and stuff. I think in the end, I think we did a very good job of not doing the same thing as them and trying to make it different. Because that was like a big thing too. It's like, I took a lot of inspiration from this thing, but I don't want to copy it directly. What's the point in doing that? Like, they already did it. I don't need to do it if we're copying it
and you
directly.
have us who've never seen any
exactly.
of it.
Yeah.
There was a very many times where I had to talk Mev into it. Like, I feel like this might be copying this other thing. And I'm like, Mev, you're taking things from a lot of things and you're throwing us into it as further variables. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's never going to come out the same. That's it's something I'm
we're going to be
fine.
Another important question. Are Doug and Jacob still cuddle buddies?
Does Jules allow it?
Yeah, how does Jules feel about this?
I have to say, like, from my experience, if I walked in on you and Jakey cuddling, I might be a little weirded out. So I think Jules would probably feel the same.
Might be a no. Might be a no then.
You gotta do it in secret.
Big shame.
Yeah.
Gotta do the sweaty cuddles in secret.
Yep.
Well, I like this question, actually. It kind of, I think we've touched a little bit on this, but we might, some of you guys might have a more specific answer for this. If there was one event you could change, what would it be and why? Maybe not a power, or just, like, is there a specific thing that happened in the campaign where you're like, I wish that went differently? I think all of us kind of addressed the ending. We kind of wish that would have been a little bit more dramatic and have a little bit more impact with Scotty.
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of things I could have gone different, but then it just would have been vastly different. But nice if Scotty's brother lived.
True. Well, that was planned for a while too, though.
Yeah, I think I knew I was going to kill him. Like,
oh gosh,
the first
poor
time
guy.
we introduced
I
him.
knew he was dying. I don't know who else knew.
I'm not surprised, but I didn't know.
Oh, this is random because it has to do with Doug's character, but I think it would have been interesting to see your brother a little more in the campaign because he was only there for like that one episode.
Yeah, the hospital episode.
The hospital scene.
We could easily like put him in an equally Reuben situation.
Because we had the situation where, like, you know, we were kind of getting to the point where, like, you know, the wolves would kind of start going after other people. It would have been interesting if, like, the wolves went after your brother and then your brother got involved accidentally and thrown him in.
And he finally, like,
would have believed them and so on and so forth. Yeah.
I think the only thing we really used the brother for, and it just kind of worked out because you guys went to a hospital and Doug put his brother down as a doctor, was we basically just used his brother to show the audience Doug's relationship with his family.
Which was not good.
Yeah, which is not like they still
not the best.
It's not like they don't talk to him, but like anytime they talk to him, it's just like, oh, come on, Doug, seriously, like, what scheme are you cooking up this time? Kind of thing, it seems. Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, I guess we could have done a little bit more with him. I mean, a lot of the side characters are just that. They're side characters. I'd say one of my big regrets, this is a good one for me, is not having Tiger in the show. No, just kidding. It does tie to that episode.
He got in the show. That's all I can ask for.
I was excited to have Tiger as a character, just like a side character that shows up. I thought that was like a really cool idea. And he agreed to do it. And then I had to, like, me and Tiger had a couple long conversations about his character and what his character would know. And his character actually knew a lot more about this world and the rules and all that stuff than any of these guys. Which makes sense. He was kind of like an exposition machine a little bit. He gave you guys some exposition. And I feel like in retrospect, I would have had him tell you guys less. I think, and this kind of ties to, again, why I think I wouldn't want to do a season 2. What makes things like this so good a lot of times is the mystery, the whole what is going on like aspect of things. And I think it's kind of important to sort of drip feed information to the audience so they slowly sort of figure out what's going on. And I feel like we might have given away too much information in that episode with Tiger.
Yeah, it was definitely a case of a lot of episodes where it was like, oh my god, this is so much information. And then like a string of a couple episodes, we don't know what's going on at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It was very on and off.
So I kind of feel like in retrospect too, like too much of the mystery was revealed too soon at that point. Because by the time you guys ended talking to Tiger's character, you knew like there was a demon. They wanted you for a sacrifice. Like you guys like knew a lot of information by the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, other questions?
I want to touch on this one question that Sabertooth actually put in the chat. We kind of touched on it before, but why was Doug the only person who cared about Scotty when his brother died, but the other two didn't seem to care at all? I can't speak for Jacob, but as far as Jules, she doesn't have any family. I mean, she lost her mom when she was little, but that was like, what, 20 years ago? So she doesn't, I don't really...
You think it's something she's kind of callous to a little bit?
Yeah, she number one, she's a detective. She deals with...
It's just something that happens.
Daily. Yeah, and number two, she's, besides her mom, which happened however long ago, she just doesn't understand. She doesn't have that emotional side of her that realizes, like, how big of an effect that would have had on him. And they had already gone through so much at that point, so she just wants it all to be over with so she can go back to her normal life.
I guess Jacob is just, he's like self-centered, and he just like kind of grew up, you know, like even if he wants to do nice things, his parents is always like, you know, you need to do things right for yourself, that kind of thing. So in that kind of moment, he probably just, you know, just like think for himself first. So like he probably still cares for that, but like, you know, there's so many priorities in his head, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it's that they didn't care at all. It's just they definitely didn't show it. They didn't think to show it in that moment.
Also, random question. I don't know if we ever established this, but I think I know the answer. Is Jacob an only child? Or does he have brothers and sisters?
I think in the story, yeah, he's the only child.
He is an only child, which makes kind of a lot of sense too about his like relationship with his parents too.
They have so much expectations.
No.
But it's like, yeah, all their BS gets put on Jakey. It's not like it can be distributed amongst the children. It's like it's all on Jakey.
Yeah.
I had another question here that was decent that I liked. Where was it? I just had it. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. There's so many. Why do you guys ask so many questions? God, figure it out.
One that I'm personally
How dare you
interested in.
guys?
Has Jakey got plans to ever join another D&D?
Who knows?
Not to put you on the spot, yeah. So, I'm pretty sure the answer's a maybe.
Although he's
Depends
even
on what's happening.
Depends, yeah. I definitely have so much fun this is for my first time, honestly. It's like eye-opening experience. Like I didn't like when I first joined, I was like, oh my god, I'm doing a terrible job. Like first couple episodes, I feel like I am just like I'm flopping and like improv, like even though I've done improv.
I will say one of my favorite just player things throughout the whole thing was the amount of times I just threw it on Jakey. Just like, here you go. Do stuff. Good luck. Here you go. Everyone's watching.
You were very good at that.
I hate it, but also I like, you know, I'm glad you did that. You know, I know what you're doing. Milo. I was like, I see you. I was like,
what do you think, Jacob?
I will say, actually, one of my favorite moments as a DM, too, was because I can kind of distinctly remember the moment where I noticed, like, Jakey gets this now. Like, gets what this is. Because, like, he even said in the first episode, he kind of, you know, openly went into this saying, like, you know, first time ever doing this. You didn't really know what you were getting into, but you could kind of tell like you were pretty quiet in the first episode, and I think in the second episode it was like you had a better idea of like what this was. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Jakey, I just remember the first time I noticed you getting more comfortable role playing in this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't know. The first time I was like, how should I speak? Like, do I need to like, hey, I want to talk, or like, do I just speak
Mhm.
freely? So I have a lot of question in my head. I was like, I'm just gonna
Mhm.
roll with it and see, you know. Yeah,
And
but
like,
if I-
and Scotty's quiet by default, so that's the way Mitch was playing it. So we actually, if you watch the first episode, we were leaning a lot on Kayla and Xylo actually for that first episode especially. And I think
No, definitely when I saw the character dynamics, I was like, good thing I made my character like this.
Yeah,
All right.
kind of
To be honest,
talkative.
I made Scotty like a lot more quieter on purpose because at the time when the campaign had started, I was working a lot of night shifts.
Oh, so you're
So I
like,
knew
I'm gonna
going
be
into the
tired.
game I was gonna be tired. So
That's
I was
smart.
like, I gotta play a character that's not super hyperactive. I was like, he has to be quiet. You know,
It's kind of like me in our Avatar game.
Relax.
Yeah, we're kind of like inverse with the Avatar game because
Yeah,
I'm just like I'm a quiet character in that, and I'm just like I want to see if other people can talk enough and
Yeah,
carry the
'cause,
story
like, in-
without me
like
having to be a
in-
Doug Diggums.
Yeah, because like in Avatar, it's a complete opposite spectrum. I'm super
Mhm.
hyper. I'm talking all the time. So,
Yeah. And this is actually, I don't think this was asked specifically, but something I just popped in my head and I feel like I want to address. In regards to Jules' backstory and what was his name? Ted?
Ted, I believe.
And I want to talk about the mistake that I made and then what we did to try
oh
to
yeah.
to rectify the situation. So,
Oh yeah, I forgot all about this.
So when we were talking about this and we were talking about Jules's backstory, Kayla told me that Ted got away. That was it, right?
He was never supposed to be arrested. He shot my mom, he shot me, and then he left, and the police could never find him. That was one of the main reasons why Jules wanted to become a detective, because she felt they did an inferior job with her mom's case, and that was why her obsession was to find the man who killed her mother.
Yeah.
And that was why she became a detective, to hunt him down and finish that closed case. That's also why her noble stimulus was helping others, because I think I mentioned it in the story too. A lot of her free time she spent investigating cold cases and trying to help people who had never gotten their situation solved, because she too had never gotten her case solved.
Now,
I just pictured her whole workplace just covered in papers. She's like one of those people who has like the bulletin board with like the pictures and like the strings
String
tying them all
tied.
together.
she's the Pepe Silvio meme from
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But so Mev, with his boomer brain and having to juggle all these details and remember a lot of things, in the moment, when we were role playing that flashback, I said we got him, like that we had arrested him. And then afterwards, after that episode was done, Kayla pointed out my mistake, and I was like, oh, dang. Oh, that's bad. That's a bad mistake, too, because it ties into, like, her whole motivation for becoming a police officer and stuff.
We could have had a TED arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really could have. He could have been a big like villain or something.
And
I
then...
mean, we had a little thing with him.
So then we actually... it actually wound up causing a whole different flashback scene. The whole scene where she goes and finds him at the bar and almost kills him, but decides not to. That wound up being sort of her consolation prize version of like trying to redeem the mistake that I made. And we did sort of like a little bit of a Lost thing. Kind of, sorta. Remember Kate in Lost? Doesn't she go to like not Kate. The was it Anna Lucia, the cop lady?
Oh yeah, Xylo and I just finished Lost, and we talked about the similarities between Ana Lucia and Jules that I didn't even realize because I watched Lost years ago.
I mean, it's an old show, so I don't feel bad about spoiling it. But I mean, we and our conclusion was really different. But like in the show, Ana Lucia's like, I think there's some criminal. He's in a lineup. She has to point him out, and she's like, "It's not him." And they're like, "You know it's him." She's like, "It's not him. It's the wrong guy." And the guy gets
just so she can chase him down and finish him off herself.
Yeah, just so she can go and kill him herself. So we decided to do like a similar scene with Jules, but then me and Kayla were talking. We're like, Jules would never do that though. Like she wouldn't just kill a guy.
She couldn't.
She would maybe almost kill a guy, but then have a moment like where she gets her strength back, and it's just like, no, this is like the wrong thing to do. And instead we kind of made her motivation being like making a little more general, where it's not like her motivation is to just chase down this one guy. It was to like try to be a good part in like a sometimes broken justice system. Like it wasn't fair that he didn't go to jail for what he did to Jules's mom and to Jules. So we kind of made that sort of part of her motivation.
Yeah.
Oh, this is something I actually saw in the questions, and I see it's highlighted in chat right now. In the first episode with the guy in the tow truck, and he hit the ghost girl. Who was the ghost girl? Well, I like to think he fell asleep for a second at the wheel. So it was just sort of like a nightmare thing. So
he was awakened?
Well, Mara didn't just mess with like only awakened people. You guys just had the ability to like kind of fight back.
Mess with them right back, yeah.
Mara we kind of, I picture Mara has been doing this for thousands of years and just like feeding on innocent people in their nightmares and stuff.
Because why not?
But they're just like snacks. You guys were like the meal that was going to bring them to the next level. But yeah,
sustenance.
Yeah, so Jeb was kind of, and I was kind of playing, like, the whole reason he even put on the radio was to try to keep himself, like, awake, because it was late at night, he was driving down a dark road, he was kind of feeling his eyes closing and stuff. So yeah, that was just, probably something he saw in a dream. There wasn't, like, an actual ghost in the road, it was something that he just kind of saw in his head. Was Doug's chalk magic before he was awakened? Doug probably thought it was. Actually, no. Do you think he really believed it? Or do you think he, like, just acted like it?
I feel like Doug acted from a standpoint of some of this stuff probably works sometimes, so I'm going to do it all. It's either for show or it's going to help me out. So win-win. Nothing wrong with it.
Do you think a lot of it was just, like, justifying it in his head so he felt a little bit less guilty about what he did for a living?
Well, like, that's the thing. He had experience. He knows there's some, like, unexplainable stuff out there. But he also knows most people who, think their house is haunted are probably completely wrong. So,
money.
Yeah, all you people who you think your house is haunted, yeah, it's probably
It's
not.
actually just Doug just, like, messing with your roof or whatever.
Yeah, so if you get a ghost hunter in there, you might be getting Doug Diggumsed, but,
She'll get Doug Diggumsed.
I think my family's been Doug Diggumsed before.
And you'll Doug Diggum them again.
So when I was away, apparently they had like a ghost tracker come over the place, said all the different things that were haunted.
Recently? Or
no, like years back or something.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And it was like just all the right things to make it like sound believable. And it's like, oh yeah, we did have someone die in this house. Oh my goodness, it's right. Oh. And then there's me like, well,
I did see a question. Is Mev ever planning to do another campaign? I am.
Sweet.
I just don't. I've already kind of. I've potentially locked in a few players. I just got to get the right players for it. I will.
Chat, should I beg Mev to put me in the campaign, or should I let other people play?
You know what they're gonna say.
Let other people play.
I would have to make you be more serious for this one, though.
That's the only reason it might not.
No, don't take Mitch away from me, Alicia. He's one of the only people who's confirmed yes. But yeah, not only am I hopefully I can get all the players for this and kind of plan everything. Not only am I planning on another like serious kind of campaign, but I'm thinking of even doing a more traditional D&D campaign set in a fantasy world, probably a like really long-term kind of campaign, one that can go on for much longer, where like this is, Awakening was kind of, I'd consider it almost a mini series compared to like how long some campaigns go on. And I'd like to do one that's a little bit more long-term. But that would probably be something a little more, because if I go more serious on my next campaign, I need something else to balance it out and a place to still, like, because I love doing the silly stuff too.
Yeah. Once again, I've said this before, but Scurvy sees, I was like, I got such a solid team of really good role players, and then it's just their outlet for just being goofy all the time, and I'm like, this is good too.
Yeah, try to make like plans for the episodes, and you have to throw them all out the window once Alex Gator makes 5 decisions.
Yeah. I planned the first what I thought might be the first 3 sessions like all at once. We just got past that point in like session 10. So
that's kind of great.
Yeah.
The one thing, I mean, I've sort of people are asking for like a hint. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I know I want to make it more serious. I've talked to this with a couple of these guys recently. Some of the more serious campaigns that I watch that are either horror or like psychological thriller kind of thing, they don't break character the entire episode. And to me, what's great about horror and like psychological thrillers and all that kind of stuff, there's always like a tension that's going on. There's always this underlying tension. And when you break character, you kind of break that tension. Even to talk about like game mechanics stuff. So I'd like to do something where I kind of force all the players to sort of commit more to that, to like staying in character and keeping that tone and that tension and stuff. That's pretty much all I know. I know I don't want to make it exactly like Awakening. Like I said, I think one of the greatest parts about those sort of genres and the more spooky or more serious genres is the mystery and like the what is going on factor. But breaking fourth wall is fun, Mev. Yeah, but time and place.
Yeah. And I think we do it enough in our other shows anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we even do it like too much in the Avatar one sometimes. In like Tales of Olympus, I think we hit the right mark maybe. But
Scurvy feels pretty balanced. I think we can.
Yeah. We break it a lot, but it's
a lot of it is us
kind of works in that format. So
a lot of it is us just laughing at what is happening.
Yeah.
I'm a three-legged alligator. You can't keep.
Yeah, it's not like we've had tension to break very often. So
I can't just not.
But yeah, we have all that fun and all the silliness and all the other campaigns and stuff. So I mean, I kind of like maybe being the person who tries to do something a little different, so there's some variety in the Dice and Fire stuff. So yeah, that's my talks of second campaigns. I don't know when it's happening. Sooner than later, hopefully, because we'd like to like maintain a certain amount of campaigns going at once. But yeah, I just need to find, and it's one of those things too. It's not only that I need to find enough players for it. I need to find like the right players for it too. I think. People are saying, how did Jacob's Gallery do in terms of reception?
I think that like the end scene kind of explained that, didn't it? Like, it's like, you know what? He's doing good for what he does now, right?
I'd like to think it was probably one of his most successful galleries yet.
Oh yeah.
The one that he did in the end.
Better than all those like party, rich life, Photoshop,
People in the art world are
Like,
weird. I like art, and I used to like. Have you ever been to an art museum? When you're just like, this is the art, huh? And it's literally just like, it's like an empty cigarette box sitting on a pedestal. You're like, okay.
Yeah, like it's great that all Jacob's art actually has story behind it. Stuff,
Yeah, but like him, all his like weird kind of dark pictures and stuff. Like I feel like the art world would just eat that stuff up. They love it.
That too.
Like, look at this photo of Scotty.
I want to see someone like standing in front of the picture trying to interpret it, and Jacob's just like, yeah, that's totally.
That's totally what it is.
The trash can. Yeah.
Totally. There's an arm sticking out of. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, totally not real body. Yeah.
Mev, are there any Easter eggs we might have missed? If so, what are they? No, I don't think I'm that smart. Unless did we put any?
I think anything that was there was obvious. So.
Yeah. And even the things I try to make not obvious, like somebody in chat always picked up on it.
Yeah, because there's like, there's our minds, but then there's like 100 other minds in chat, so it's hard to get one thing past everybody. And if you get it past everybody, you're doing a bad job anyway.
Nobody asked this question, but yes, I am going to be very excited to clean out my Stream Deck after this campaign's over, because it has dominated my entire Stream Deck.
I saw another question. Does Doug's brother know about the events? Would Doug have told him afterwards?
He wouldn't have believed him.
Yeah, like I don't know if Doug would have told him, because what's the point?
Well, technically he could prove it now, though.
He could,
Unless
but
it didn't work under
Finger
pressure.
guns.
I'm gonna roll right now.
Finger guns.
We're gonna see if
Do it, roll.
Yeah, well, you guys won't see the rolls because I don't have it up, but
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
rolled a 98.
He
chat.
didn't believe you.
I rolled
Yeah,
a 98.
he definitely rolled a 98.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
did not.
nah.
He did not believe you.
Like
Mhm.
after the last conversation that you had together, Doug will probably just try to get past that rather than explain it all.
Rolled a
he's
98.
He's got the others who can relate, so.
My guessing is you rolled a 98, so you probably called him up, tried to start to explain about it, and like 2 sentences in, he's just like, I don't got time for this. I'm at work. I'll see you later, Doug. I gotta go. Bye. Like didn't even let you
probably
finish
just
the
the
story.
slightest chance of just rejection. Doug was like, you know what, we don't talk that often. It's fine if you don't know these life-threatening events. It's cool. Okay.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of repeats now. I don't even know how many more questions we have. A lot of people ask the same stuff. It does seem like a lot, but there was a lot of overlap too. And then
There's
some
that one person who just posted as many questions as possible, even all the bad ones. You know who you are.
I tried to tell them to stop. What was my response to them? I'm just like, if we're lucky, we'll get to 5 of your questions. Maybe you've asked enough. A smiley face. A lot of more decent questions, but it's just like, I'm going to ask every other question. A lot of the questions seemed like they were projecting too. Hold on, I want to find that. We're going to examine this now. Oh, like
did Doug ever get them mozzarella sticks? Yeah, he did.
How does the cast feel about the super anticlimactic ending?
I mean, we talked about it. It could have
We already spoke about it.
Some people have opinions, apparently.
It is what it is.
That was just one of mine. I thought that was funny. It did say super climactic / super emotional ending, and I will say that's fair. That's a fair assessment. One actually they did, and I kind of touched upon this too, is Mev, do you think you can improve on anything next time you GM? And if so, what would it be? Nope, I am perfect. Next question. No, I did address a lot of them. I think story-wise, we could have kept the mystery a little bit longer and kind of maintained that a little bit better. I think I could have done a little bit better at giving these guys opportunities to use some of the abilities that they came up with. With this rule set specifically, I think I could have done a little bit better with the stresses and having that have more of an impact.
I was just about to say that about the stresses. We didn't do stress checks a lot.
And and the stimuli as
Stuff
well.
was pretty weak,
but it's so easy for me to forget about mechanic stuff when
honestly,
we're going.
Majority of the game mechanic stuff was pretty weak in this campaign, and like certain rules switched several times.
Yeah,
it was more story based.
Yeah, and it wasn't important.
Based. Yeah, I mean, we had one dice to roll. It wasn't like
it wasn't all min-maxing.
It was different than normal D&D, and I think it worked still. Some of it was kind of like we made it up as we went along, but made for a good story.
Was there another ending, like a bad ending for Awakening?
We all failed. Everyone died, and the world fell apart.
There very easily could have been in this campaign. Yeah.
That's the ending.
If we didn't capture Mara, I guess
the world would have sucked.
Yeah.
The ending is the world we see in the dream world. Ta-da!
I was saying to these guys, like,
have saved the world.
I almost was ready because I wanted this to succeed, and I was almost ready to just let it happen regardless of rolls in the end. But I didn't even have to make that decision.
Nope.
Like didn't even come
Jakey
close.
made it for you.
Yeah, Jakey made it for me with his rolls. Why did Scotty have to roll a rank 7 violence check when he basically point blank the cultist? Yeah, people, because I again.
What do you mean?
We're tying
as his brother's blood was still shooting out on the pavement.
We're tying back to how I probably could have done better about sticking with those.
I think we did a violence check in that sequence. I remember.
Yeah, because
I
jabbed it. I sliced the dude's neck, and the blood didn't come out, so it was just a cut open neck.
Oh yeah, true.
Because we were frozen.
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah.
That's a yikes. All right, because Alicia keeps asking me, and she's not gonna stop asking me until it gets asked. Everyone's favorite meme from this campaign that happened. I know personally, for me, it's the Scotty rolls and Mevoda that happened as the campaign went on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
mozzarella
I don't know
sticks.
what one would categorize. So
it's pretty much that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mozzarellas.
I guess I'd have to go with the Mevoda. But yeah, the mozzarella stick thing was good.
Mevoda really wasn't in the
that
campaign,
wasn't a campaign thing,
though.
no.
Yeah, it just kind of happened.
He made a Mevoda version, an Awakening version of Mevoda. I think it was blood flavored or something.
Yeah.
But I guess the mozzarella stick thing is good because it persisted throughout the campaign.
We referenced it.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Jacob paying every single time we went somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scotty rolls is great, and that's one of those things where it's you plan for a campaign to go a certain way, and sometimes the rolls go along with that, and sometimes they don't. And Scotty was a tortured dude, as we've mentioned, and the rolls reflected that.
We may have decided that he was a tortured dude after the rolls a little bit.
The rolls reinforced that so much, and it persisted throughout the campaign. But the Scotty rolls would go away at clutch moments, as you mentioned, when he went on a rampage and killed all those people. Scotty rolls went away then, and he didn't have any problem killing all those people.
Trying to walk up the wall apparently is the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, there are these magical moments that happen in D&D where the roles totally reinforce what you're trying to do with characters, and I feel like Scotty Rolls thing was definitely one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kayla, how does Jules feel about Doug being good friends with Reuben after this all? I think they'd become good friends.
I think she would love that, honestly, because they would be technically her two closest people in her life.
Cool.
So, I mean, Reuben was kind of like a.
Mev, would Reuben
dad
hang
to
out
her.
with Doug?
Probably. He'd probably bully him all the time. He'd probably pick on him if they're ever forced to
If
be.
Jules and Doug gets married, Reuben would
so you have that
100%
dad
walk her
energy?
down the aisle. Yeah,
Yes.
no, 100%. He's
Perfect.
been like a dad to her, so.
Bring a photo of me.
Reuben would probably be like, him? Seriously?
Hey, Reuben shipped
I guess
it.
you
What
could
do you
do it.
mean?
That's true, he
Like
did.
Reuben to think that they had something going on since. not the beginning, but
And you could do worse.
that one time.
Yeah, you could do worse. He's
At
actually.
least it's not that Scotty fella. He died. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Right. Someone asked
Would
whatever.
Reuben ever adopt Jules? Jules is 30.
Yeah, it's a little unnecessary. It's not really how that works for most people.
True, but this is the internet. Is the next thing that Alicia should be talking. And everybody loves internet dads because we're all weirdos. Apparently, you're all weird, internet. I just want to put that out there. Okay.
We adopt Jacob so he can have supportive parents.
Here we go. That's even better. That's way more wholesome. Whatever happened to Lenny's cult book and how did he even get it? Well, the Lenny's book
Still
was
in
actually
my bag.
it was his own notebook, so I think it was notes that like he had taken. So
I did see someone asking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the way the whole Lenny case worked, I don't think, because obviously with Reuben and Jules knowing everything about the cult and Jules telling the cult to just like disperse, I don't think they would have like closed that case properly, if that makes sense. I think they would have just like
Left it cold.
No, they wouldn't have left it cold. They would have like written it so it was closed, but in a way that like made sense in a normal world, I guess.
yeah,
like,
they would have covered
Lenny
it
got
up.
murdered. They caught the murderer. The murderer was dead or something. Like they would have done what they could to cover it up. So it's definitely closed. I don't know. Did Lenny have any like close family or anything?
I don't think so.
It wasn't established, so it's not like anyone really was like missing him or something. And if they were, then they would have had like, you know, they would have been told something.
When I picture him, I don't picture him as like the type of dude with like a family and kids and like.
But so everything was closed in a way that made sense and still like everyone was happy, I guess.
And I kind of feel like probably Jules and Reuben are probably two of the last cops to ever like cover up something like that. But in this one thing,
I like to think Doug was leaning over their shoulder, like, "Oh, you could say that you could say that this happened for this part. For this, you could make up this part. Ooh, and add this there."
And they're probably just
I like to think that he was doing that, and they didn't take a single thing he said seriously. But they took care of it. Definitely no one questioned it. I mean, Reuben's the chief of police, so.
Yeah.
It's very handy that he's the chief of police, otherwise they wouldn't have flown so hot.
It's very handy he took everything as well as he did too, because he could have totally.
Very handy that he didn't get destroyed by Amara and the cult. That would have been awkward.
Destroyed or possessed. He could have totally been in the same position as the Uber driver. He could have been working for them. But luckily,
I didn't want to go that far with it. Like, I didn't want to take away one of the few people that Jules has trusted like her whole entire life.
That's literally the only person Jules has.
Funny enough, the dog Mayo was actually part of the cult as well.
Yep. And awakened. I saw people asking that. Were the dogs awakened? What kind of question is that?
No, but the turtle.
Are you proud of yourself asking those questions? Are you proud of yourself? Take a step back and look at the questions you asked, chat. Are you proud of yourself?
The turtle can produce a propeller. So it just shoots out of the shell, it spins, and then he can
also
float.
Fred can get really big, which is why my picture for the Sky Rolls is me riding a giant turtle.
Yep.
On roll 20.
Oh, did we ever show that? I never showed that.
I don't think so.
Hold on, I got you.
Yeah, that's been my
should have showed that when
I forget who made it. I think Ash made it. I can't remember.
My picture is a badly photoshopped.
I can't remember.
Xylo standing on one of those
Ash.
boats.
A gondola.
Also, a gondola, yeah.
When I got that fan art, I made it that immediately. I thought it was funny.
Why is it doing that thing when I open up the window? It's just blank. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hold on, chat. It's coming. So this has been on Scotty's character sheet
ever since I got that.
Yep. Hold on. Why you being the way you are?
Why you gotta be so rude?
Oh, there it is. Okay, I guess you can see all my tabs. It's fine. There it is.
Nah.
That's what's been on his character sheet the whole time.
Yep.
Yep.
There he is. Look, such a happy boy.
Yep. Beautiful.
Good old Franklin.
Good old Franklin. Oh, and should I show the Lenny picture too? That's a thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
show
the
my
background, yeah, the
beautiful
background.
art.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I drew Lenny. I think I drew Doug and the demon.
Yep, there it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. There's a picture of Doug, and then there's a picture of Mara.
Yeah, I drew the Lee gasp and a couple of smiley faces.
It's off to the side or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep,
Oh, yep,
this-
there.
The Lenny is more specifically the Lenny that was all leather face and had like the open mouth and the sunken in eyes and stuff.
This is what we've had instead of maps in our Roll20 this whole time.
My goal was to do more, but I got lazy. My fan art for the series.
Yep.
So sad I never got around to Jules, Jacob, or Scotty, but you know.
People
Oh.
asking where were the animals when they left to go to the safe? Where do you think logically speaking, where would the animals be? Anybody?
In the awakened world.
Obviously, they're
They're
demons.
all in my bag of tricks. So when they went to search my bag, they hopped out and attacked them.
Where did we sleep at? Or were we at Jules' apartment? I can't remember. Or no, we were trapped in there. They were at the warehouse. Wouldn't they? Or would we have left them behind?
I don't know.
I mean, my guess is he
They get left in the car a lot, I'll be honest. I know people shouldn't leave their pets in the car for
feel
long
like-
durations, but
I would
feel
also
like
say-
if we were going to the warehouse. Well, no, I guess we were originally going to the safe house, so yeah, they would have had to have been in the car.
Either that, I mean, I just always kind of assumed, it sort of seemed that, like, Jules's apartment started to sort of become home base towards the end of that
I tried to
campaign.
make everyone's home base.
So they probably just, I mean, I'm assuming when they go to, like, confront a cult about, like, a demon thing, they probably just left the dogs at Jules's apartment.
They didn't have though, because they were going from Jules's apartment to the safe house where they were going to sleep. They didn't plan on going to the warehouse until they were already
Oh,
kidnapped.
that's true.
Mhm.
So the dogs would have had to have been in the car at the warehouse.
Well, he left them in the car with a bag of food. I will
Fair
say, the honest non-meme answer is like, we were
don't
probably focused on more important things at the moment, and where the dogs were is probably the last thing we were thinking of.
Wait, so a cultist just betrayed us and is leading us towards, the rest of his cult who's going to sacrifice us to a demon? Hold on, I gotta find my dog.
Yep.
Look, I could only derail the campaign so many times, okay?
Mhm. Well, I've gone through a lot of the questions. I'm seeing a lot of.
Through all of them twice.
Yeah, I think we've covered
We might
most
be there.
things. That might be all the questions we're gonna answer, unless anybody in chat has a good one right now. We're about 2 hours of question answering. That's kind of
I saw some people asking about the one shot. What happened to Mitch's character at the end?
Oh, Philip. Probably nothing good.
Probably dead, let's be honest.
He might be
Yeah.
dead.
Probably in a ghost realm or something, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's probably not doing so hot right now, if I'm gonna be honest. Either that or he's in the loony bin. One of the two.
I'd like to think in the one shot he shows up again. He's like, "Remember that time you guys left me at that house? That was so mean. That one was actually haunted."
They could have hurt me or something, man. It could have been dangerous.
You ran back in the end. We didn't tell you to do that. We were gonna leave. It's just or we see some like character growth because he was the ambitious newcomer to the team, right? So wasn't he just trying to prove himself?
Yeah, but then no one remembered his name and no one respected him.
Didn't work for him, but he tried.
So
He starts another rival ghost hunting business.
if the next time we see him, if he's like actually been with the team for a while at that point, and he's a little more confident, but still trying to prove himself.
Season 2 is going to be a whole like rivalry mob series instead it's not mobs, it's ghost hunting businesses. Cheryl has her own, territory. Doug has his territory, and then he comes in with his own.
Philip's got his own.
Then we got to bring Roman Holiday out of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in the business respects his name, but no one talks about him.
Did you guys plan to do the one shot to be a prelude to the end of Awakening?
We had a reason. We also just wanted to do it for fun, mostly.
I was also away at that time.
That I think might have influenced.
We also
it a bit.
wanted to see more Cheryl, so.
We did also want to have a thing for Cheryl, so that was kind of a natural introduction. Well, yeah.
And I will say, full disclosure,
I
that is probably one of the things that I stole from Nocturne. The idea of doing a side episode with different characters as a one-shot. I thought, like, oh, that's a kind of a cool way to do a flashback, pretty much, for Doug. Because that whole episode, if you think...
like, theme... beginning.
Yeah. That was one of those things, I will say, for the Ghost Adjusters commercial that we did. I literally transcribed word for word the commercial that they did in the movie Ghostbusters.
And then just switch a couple bits around. We're good.
Switch a couple bits around and
Ghost Adjusters.
Split it up between Cheryl and Doug, and sent them the lines, and it all came together perfectly.
Ghost Adjusters.
Is Randall based off Mev?
Yes.
Where's my laugh thing?
Old crazy man. Of course.
Yeah.
Why is Doug the main character?
Like he had it at the ready.
Yeah. I literally discussed before how they are all the main characters. And we did have, I will say, it was something we talked about and we did consciously. The whole episode with all the Jakey flashbacks, or the Jacob flashbacks, we literally talked and we're just like, Jacob hasn't really had, a moment yet where we get a little bit more reveal about his history.
Jacob episode.
So we purposefully, that's kind of a good gauge of how much we planned things, where we decided we need more Jacob. Okay, we're doing a Jacob episode. And then I literally messaged Kayla after having a discussion with Jakey about it, what kind of relationship he has with his parents, kind of the figuring out the flashback we wanted to do. And then we got Kayla in a call to be like, okay, you're going to be the mom. I'm going to be the dad. This is the deal. They're kind of... I'm like, my character, the dad, he's kind of a jerk and a little bit more, blunt. And the mom is, trying to be sweet and, understanding, but she doesn't approve of Jacob's thing either. And we've had very much, a good cop, bad cop kind of approach to the way we talk to Jacob. I'm kind of playing
You're a disappointment, but we do still care about you.
Yikes.
But the dad's very blunt and it's just you need to get a real job. And the mom's like, well, maybe this isn't the best thing for you. They're both saying the same thing, but very different approaches.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's always good to recognize. Anyone you see who has unless they're just here for a one-off thing like Tiger was, they are a main character. Don't be thinking people who dedicate time to these campaigns are just side characters.
And that was a big thing for me too, and probably one of the things I kind of appreciate the most too. I mean, this is all going on the channel that, me and Xylo help run together, so, he gets some benefit of this too, because our collaborative D&D. But, Mitch and Kayla and Jakey, they just show up because I guess it's fun for them and they're cool
I
people
guess.
and they dedicate
Like
It just gives me something to do on Tuesday nights. I mean,
and they dedicated like all this time
Just doing
and
you
thought,
a favor, really, Mev.
all this time and thought and like effort, you know, just to do this thing.
yeah, I did my whole video thingy.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that whole thing with Mitch and the video with Scotty having like the breakdown thing. I didn't plan that. Mitch was just like, "Yo, I think I want to do this," and I was like, "Okay, sure." And he just recorded that whole thing and just sent it to me.
That was a whole night.
Yeah.
So
It
like
was a whole night doing that.
I'd say from a DM's perspective, that's like really something I kind of really appreciate. It's kind of cool to like start this campaign, have these guys join it, and like kind of go above and beyond with their characters and their like kind of commitment to being part of this. So I will say thank you, Xylo, and thank you, Mitch, and thank you, Kayla, and Jakey for joining me in this. I will say it officially. Thank you guys so much. And
Cool.
I guess the audience too. I guess we should thank them for coming along with us.
No, they should
and,
thank
like-
us.
That's true. They
True.
should thank us. Thank us, chat. We'll wait.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, but also, no.
I've trained them so well.
I love you, chat. You're the best. All jokes and memes aside, doing something like this would not be nearly as exciting without the audience and your guys' commitment to these characters and like how into it you get. The impact of me torturing you guys with cliffhangers every episode would be no impact of it at all if you guys didn't like care so much about the story and if you weren't so into it. So thank you to the audience so much for enjoying this so much and being so into it. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I guess are we gonna like end now? We don't really like have anything else to
Guess so.
say, huh?
Wait,
Yeah.
should we all do one final roll?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
they're not up on chat on screen. Hold on.
One
let's-
final roll.
Hold on, let me
One
get it.
final roll.
Let me get it set
One
up
final roll.
real quick. Hold on.
There's so many things that could happen here.
If I don't roll a Scotty roll, I'll be really surprised.
Hold on. We're gonna go. Let me get
If
this.
you roll like a 24, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
Let me get this
Uh,
right. I wasn't ready for this, but I
roll
can be.
100.
Just
Hold on.
read them in the chat. They'll believe us.
Hold on. No, I got this.
Okay.
I got this.
I better roll 100.
Hold on.
I won't take anything else.
Oh no! All my screens just went away.
Uh-oh.
Why'd I do that?
Uh-oh.
I did the thing where it minimized every screen I have, so that's fun. Jeez. Hold on, chat. We're almost there. We gotta see the rolls. No, that's the wrong thing. Hold on.
One day.
We'll
Where's
get there eventually.
OBS now? Why is it not here? Hold on. There it is. Hold on. We're almost there. I just need to make sure this is lined up correctly. All right. Yeah, that works. We got this. All right, rolls.
I got
I'm out.
Does double digits mean I get a reroll?
Sure. Yep.
Oh, ew.
Oh God.
Not much better.
I'm happy to go out with 100.
I'm good with the 69. I'll take it.
Jakey got a 77. So terrible rolls all around,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Perfect.
None of us.
Makes sense.
All right, well,
Well,
the
there it is.
terrible roll. I'm
yeah,
happy.
you got the terrible
the
list.
second time I rolled that here.
Oh boy. All right, guys. Well, this is the last time we will do Awakening ever.
And you'll never see any of us again.
Yep.
Nope. Not at any of our channels or any of our streams or any of the
Nope.
many social media places you can follow all these people. Never again.
Yep. Yeah, definitely do not go follow all these people in all those places so that you can see the things that they're not going to put up anyway.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. Good night, guys.